Hello and welcome to my Seattle Seahawks franchise in Madden 18. This is something I've been looking forward to do for a long time. Finally have the resources to be able to do it. So, the Seattle Seahawks I think are a great choice this season for a couple of reasons. One, I think there's room to build around without being completely dominant from the start. Obviously, the Seahawks were a middle-of-the-road team in the regular season in real life, missing the postseason for the first time in a while. So my goal is to build up the offensive line and the running back position over the next couple of years. I picked the Seahawks because there's not going to be a lot of struggle from the beginning. It might be a little frustrating at times not being able to run the ball and getting sacked a lot as Russell Wilson. But I think defensively, a lot of people are saying the window is closing, but I still think they have a lot of room to improve and still be that dominant defense that they're known as. So I think the Seahawks are a great choice. They start the season on the road against Green Bay. So really it's going to be, in the first season, winning with the roster we have. I'm not going to make any big trades or any big moves. Maybe just a couple signings here and there. But the main goal is, in the next couple of years, to build the Seahawks back up to a Super Bowl contender. You take a look at the sliders. There's nothing really I changed. I started with non-pre-existing injuries. But the reason I did that was because I wanted the league to be realistic with Carson Wentz healthy and guys like that. You take a look at this roster, as we can see the running back position. I'm going to start Chris Carson and have Eddie Lacy back him up, but that's subject to change. It's going to be a pretty much revolving door around the running back position. I actually like the receiving core with Doug Baldwin and Richardson and Lockett. You got the tight end with Jimmy Graham, and then you take a look at this offensive line. Low overalls, only one player whose overall is above an 80. That's Dwayne Brown. So a lot to work with on the offensive line. That's what we're going to hit on immediately, because without a good offensive line in this game, especially with the slider sit I play on, there's going to be a lot of sacks allowed, a lot of times where Wilson has to roll out, and we want to protect our franchise player. We can't have Russell Wilson getting sacked the most times in the NFL. Then you look at this defense. Cliff Averill leads the left end position, then Michael Bennett. The pass rush we have, especially acquiring Sheldon Richardson, we're going to get a lot of sacks. We're going to make it very difficult on the opposition to pass, especially with our secondary with Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. That's why I didn't enable pre-existing injuries, because I thought it would be not as fun and not as realistic to not start the season with Cam Chancellor or Richard Sherman. Left outside linebacker, that's a position that is down the list of things to improve, but mainly we're going to focus on the offense. And then you have Bobby Wagner, I think the best middle linebacker in the game besides Von Miller. He's a go-to option. KJ Wright, he's an average right outside linebacker, but that's a position we can improve. And then here I had to move Richard Sherman up because he's injured in real life, but didn't want to play without him. But the cornerback position, the number 2 option might have to improve. Justin Coleman, he's a decent corner, 80 overall, but I definitely think there's room to improve. But again, it's going to be, small improvements here and there on the defense, because the offense is going to be the main focus. Then you look at Earl Thomas, great option at free safety. Our safeties with Thomas. And there I had to move Cam Chancellor. They are going to be our go-to options when we're putting pressure on the QB. Our secondary is really just going to shine. We're going to force a lot of turnovers and keep our offense in games. We look at the kicker, Blair Walsh. That needs to be improved right away. We have Young Ho Koo on the practice squad, so if Blair Walsh struggles early, and he probably will, then we'll turn to him. Our practice squad is interesting. We have CJ Prosise and McKissick, so if we have some running back injuries, which I think with the slider set I'm using, they are pretty prevalent, we might have to turn to those two off the practice squad. So that's a look at this team's roster. I'm hoping that I can really optimize it to get to the postseason. So I will see you in Week 1. We're going to be facing the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra. It should be an interesting one. So until then, I'll see you next time.